Hello, hello, welcome to my channel. This is Jobadiah Christensen, otherwise known as Roman's Revenge, or Roman Ragnarok, or Jobus, depending on what game you're playing with me. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for being here. It is a new year. It is a new list. There's a lot to talk about. I'm not going to talk about all of it right now. This is Ninth Age. This video is Ninth Age. And if you I don't know where you've been if you play Ninth Age and you didn't know this, but at the end of the year, they go through the books. There's a team of volunteer staff that go through all of the books and they tweak the points. And so that means that we get to play around with new lists in this new year for 2021. So I have changed my list. I don't know if I'm sure Firepaw has changed his list in some way. So there were some points changes that made this list possible for Empire, which I will get into shortly. What else do I want to talk about? This is the first battle of this new thing called the Abrasus League. Abrasus is a player, or I think his gamer name is Conrad. Anyway, Abrasus organized this league play, which is a little different, something that Ninth Age hasn't really done before, at least not on this scale. Instead of it being like a tournament where you just play, 3 games or 5 games or 6 games and then you're done, in this league, you're placed into standings, you're placed into groups. Um, and then I think you're in a group of 7, and then you play every other player, so you play 6 games. And then depending on how you do, you're going to move up or down groups. And there's like 15 groups. So this way, over time, eventually you'll end up in a group where you're actually evenly matched with other players, and you'll have opportunity to grow and to move up the league and up the ladder. And I think this is actually a really great idea. So I joined, and of course, because it's the first league, it seems like we were just thrown into random groups. So I actually ended up playing some really skilled players so far. I've actually played 2 battles so far. This battle was against Firepaw, who I looked up after the fact, and he is a German ETC player for Team Germany. So he is very, very good, as can be told from the battle, although my mistakes did help him. Alright, that's all I wanted to talk about right now. Whoops. Let's take a look at my list. If you've been watching my other videos, this is actually quite a bit different from the other lists I've been playing with Empire, and that is because if you zoom down to the bottom of my list, this is where I started. I love flagellants. Flagellants are what attracted me to Empire in the first place. And with the points changes, they increase the points, the amount. Flagellants start in units of 15, and they used to be 15 flagellants for 190 points. They actually increased that to 200 points, but it used to be for each additional model it would cost 17 points, and they reduced the additional models to 16, which means that you can now take, and the unit cap size, you can take 3 units. So now you can take 3 units of flagellants of 30 with a champion, and it is exactly 1,350 points, which is the points allowance that the Empire book gives you for the category Suna's Fury. So that is why I built the list this way. If you've watched my other battle reports, I've been playing with a Great Griffin, a marshal on a Great Griffin as my general. Guess what? Great Griffins fall into the Suna's Fury points category, so if you want to take 90 flagellants, yes, you read that right, 90 flagellants, you can't take a Great Griffin. You also cannot take a Steam Tank, although I don't use them. And you cannot take a Battle Altar. So that is why this list is built the way it is. I took 2 cannons, which I've never done before. I actually really haven't played with cannons before, but decided to try them out. And also haven't really used Rangers. Decided I'm going to try them out because I need chaff to protect the flagellants, and I need shooting that will actually take out opposing chaff. And I thought that Rangers would do better than handgunners for that. So that's why this list is built the way it is. As for the core, I went through some different iterations of this list, and I had one iteration that actually had 60 light infantry, 60 handgunners in core, which in hindsight might have actually been better than what this ended up. But I thought I needed something that would be better at scoring, so I put the knights in because they provide quick, durable scoring. Some armies just don't have an answer for 1-up armor save knights. Their movement 714, which allows me to score the objective easier. And because they have lances on the charge, they're strength 6, and that can actually pressure monsters, because monsters are still in the meta. I then have a big unit of heavy infantry with parry. Household standard, I never actually used before, but as I was building a list, I realized this is perfect for this type of a list because I have a marshal on foot with Imperial Serial. If the marshal joins this unit with household standard, then the range of commanding presence goes from 12 to 18. It's increased by 6. Also, you may notice I do not have a BSB. That's because I couldn't fit it in. I'd have to drop a cannon or rangers or basically that's the only place I have space to take a BSB. So I don't have a BSB because I'm not going to give up flagellants. And I wanted to try out double cannon because of all the monsters running around. I do have Wizard on Arcane Engine, Arcane Shield, which gives distracting within 6 inches. Of course, that's for the Flagellants because they have defense 1. So with distracting, people are usually hitting them on 3s or 4s, even though they only have defense 1, so that helps. And then a Master on Pyro because they did change Pyro, and it looks a lot more fun to me to play with the Master. And that's basically it. And then these heavy infantry with spears are just for scoring. That's literally all they're for, although they could be used as chaff in a pinch. That's my list. Here is Firepaul's list. He's not here to talk about it. It's a bunch of demon stuff. Things that I found out while playing during the battle that I did not know. This unit of 10 lemurs, these guys, if you don't know, they have parry, and they were like resilience 5, and they're core. So, for only 285 points, this is a steal, this is a bargain. All you demon players out there, just play lemurs. It's ridiculous. Just play lemurs. I don't know what the rest of you are messing around for. If I played demons, that's what I would do. All right. Scourge, I've played against Scourges before. They're nasty. The Courtesan I've never played against before, and it ripped me a new one in this battle. That is because it gets bonuses to flanking, which I did not know, and it really was disgusting on the flank. Someone should take a look at that. That's basically all I have to comment on it. There wasn't anything else in here that, I mean, are Blazing Glories that cheap? I've played against Blazing Glories before. I never knew they were that cheap because they're really scary. All right. Scenario was hold the ground, deployment was done assault, and it was on map 8, which I have played. Oh, mm, okay. In my rush to make this video, I forgot to change the heading. So it says deployment at the top. It'll say different turns at the top, but basically we can ignore that because they're not correct. I forgot to change them from a video I copied and pasted. All right, never mind. So we rolled, and he got the roll for sides. So he picked the top, and he picked top left, which forces me into this bottom corner, which I hate. And then in my big error number 1, I told him to deploy first. I did that for 2 reasons. The first reason is that the Empire lists that I had been playing prior to this, I never actually wanted to go first because handgunners have range 24, and opponents would be if I went first, they couldn't shoot. Um, so I didn't want to go first for that reason. But if you look at my list, I don't have handgunners, so that really shouldn't have been something that was in my mind. That's just what I had gotten used to, and I would hammer it in my head. I had told myself never go first as Empire, but in reality, it's don't go first if you have a lot of handgunners, which I don't have. The second reason, and this has a little bit more credibility, it's because I wanted to see where his monsters would be so that I could place my cannons at good spots. But I think in hindsight, it was wrong to have him deploy first. I should have just dropped and gone first. And that way I could have pushed out with my flagellants, gotten some space, and also maybe gotten some hits on his guys. I mean, if I had dropped to go first, he would have had to either deploy back or hide his monsters behind a hill, or I just get free shots at his monsters. So I should have just dropped to go first, and that was mistake number 1. But I didn't. I let him. He dropped to go first, and then I deployed this way. And I deployed this way because I don't know how to play on map 8. In my mind, if everyone says you should deploy, like if you have the bottom right on map 8, you have to deploy, you basically should deploy right of this impassable terrain, this building here. In my mind, if I do that, I've played before, he's just going to come up here. He's just going to come forward. I can't, if I put my cannons here, I can't shoot him because I'll get one turn of shooting. He'll just come behind the impassable. So I get one shot at him before he goes behind the impassable. Then he'll come around this way. Maybe I get a second shot at him, and then he's in my rear and in my flank. And so that is why I didn't deploy that way. If you're watching this, let me know what's wrong with that logic. So instead I deployed over here so he couldn't just come around the backside. Um, that's basically it. I put my knights here because I figured I could push out, but that didn't really happen. I should have, in hindsight, I should have put my knights over here, especially because I saw the way he deployed. So I should have put my knights over here because he didn't really have a good answer for the knights over here. I could have just pushed out this way. I should have just put this flagellant unit like right here, south of there, so that he would have had to grind through them. He couldn't outflank them. So he just could have put the flagellant unit here. I should have put these rangers over here. Yeah. I didn't like my deployment, and I knew from the moment that I deployed this way, the moment that I let him drop first, I was like, well, that was a big mistake. And then I deployed, and as soon as I finished deploying, I'm like, well, that was a mistake. And the game is pretty much over from this point forward. So his first turn, he just literally just comes forward with everything. And, yeah. I don't remember what spells he got. Okay, so he did get 3. I don't remember what spell this was. I'm sorry. Um, yeah, so you can see this way, I'm pretty jammed. I don't have space to move at this point because he's just pushed forward, and I don't have the maneuverability to get around him. So in my turn, I move my rangers up to the wall, and that was another big mistake. I should have kept my rangers back here because they were protecting the cannon. Um, yeah, I don't remember why I moved up here. So I think I was afraid if I stayed here, the Thresher would charge the Rangers. If I kept my Rangers on the hill right in front of the cannon, the Thresher would just charge, kill them all with impact hits, and overrun into the cannon. So I wasn't going to be protecting the cannon if I stayed there. I was more worried about the Thresher. I forgot about this unit, which I forget what that is right now. Because of this is his Blazing Glory, my Knights couldn't actually outflank his Blazing Glory. And I thought about charging because I can make this charge. I have Stalker Standard, but I thought I'd only get like a wound or two, and then he just would charge me with the Scourge, and so I didn't charge with the Knights. That was another big mistake. He gave me a charge. I should have just taken it because you never know what's going to happen. I might have been able to kill it or something. Um, yeah. I thought I could shoot at it with the Rangers and the cannon and actually destroy it, but I didn't. And then I pushed forward with the flagellants because his courtesan is here. I didn't want to push out too far because I didn't want him to get a flank on me. So I basically can't move that far. I did get a Fate's Judgment off, and I rolled big. I must have rolled a 5 because I did 5 wounds to his, I did the big version of Fate's Judgment. I got it off, and I thought I could kill his Thresher right then and there. Basically, that's probably all I got off on magic. Shooting wise, my cannon did hit his courtesan, but his courtesan rolled. I think they only have a 5-up Aegis, and he rolled it. He was rolling so many 5-up Aegis saves, it was ridiculous. I was very upset because my cannons were getting some good shots off, but he kept rolling his 5-up Aegis save, and there's nothing you can do about that. So that was disappointing. And then everything just kind of falls apart. And I do apologize. I did not. I I guess I'm taking screenshots at this point. Later on, I forgot to take screenshots because I was pretty upset and I knew the game was a catastrophe. So he double charges. So he charges my rangers. I don't remember why I did this. Why I put the rangers there. I think I thought if he doesn't kill them all, they'll be steadfast in the woods or something. But it just chaffs my knights. My knights would have been better back here. I should have just left my knights back here. I don't know why I did what I did. I fled with the rangers actually, and so then his blazing glory and his scourge got into my knight unit, which actually didn't go that poorly. He flanked charges here because these rangers failed to kill the sirens or whatever these things are called. And then because I moved my rangers up, I exposed my cannon, and he just charges right into my cannon. So he dispatches my cannon. My rangers are actually this is a later turn, and that's why I like totally skipped like turn 2 or turn 3. My knights actually survived this battle, and they survived a couple rounds. Um, but yeah, what happened on this side? You'll notice. So what happened here was whatever this unit is. Let me go check. Actually, I should know this. Okay, those are called Furies, Veil Serpents. Those are Veil Serpents. Yeah, those are Veil Serpents. Furies are over there. So the Veil Serpents charged the cannon. The cannon, of course, broke. It got destroyed or broke. And then because the spear unit's within 6 inches, it broke. And it ran through the Rangers, who also failed their discipline, and they went off the table. So now my entire flank is gone. I thought I was sitting pretty good, and I was going to be able to destroy the Horde Flesher and outflank him with spears, and no. This is all gone, simply because I moved my Rangers out and didn't keep my cannon blocked. So, I made a ton of mistakes in the first, like, 30 minutes, and the game is basically over. Yeah. I then moved oh, I know, so the Sirens overrun. I charge them with my Flagellants. They fail, but now that exposes a flank. I can't move these Flagellants forward because I have to stay 1 inch away from the impassable and 1 inch away from these Flagellants. And I'm not really able to guard their flank I probably could have, but I didn't want to mess around because I don't like doing those little cheesy moves. Firepaw has no problem with that, though. He figures out he can still hit them in the flank, even though to me that doesn't count as flank, but that's what the rule book says. So his courtesan gets on the flank. He charges all this other stuff in the flank. From this point on, I didn't really learn anything. It was just those first couple things that I did wrong. The only thing that I learned, the Arcane Engine actually is pretty good on the charge, and actually did decent against these Brazen Beasts, which is very surprising. The other thing I learned was that a unit of Lemurs, 10 Lemurs, with parry, can stand up to 40 heavy infantry, or however many, when you hear 35, whatever, 30 heavy infantry with parry, even though the Marshal is a great weapon. I couldn't hit him. He couldn't hit. He was doing more wounds to me. When I could hit him, I wasn't wounding him because he's resilience 5. It was just a disaster. And then his on this flank, of course, once my knights are gone, he just chews right through everything. The Flagellants did not do as strongly in this battle as I had anticipated. See here, I got a flank charge from the courtesan. They just did nothing. I was able to do 1 or 2 wounds, but they just could not wound him. I really needed the cannons. And so the game really wasn't that much fun for me, and I don't know if it was that much fun for Paul. Big 20-0 loss, even though I felt like I killed a lot of demons. It didn't matter. He won the objective and killed my entire army. So was very disappointed in the performance of 90 Flagellants. I thought that would have been a lot scarier. The main issue is that I was counting on the 2 cannons to do work against his Scourge and his courtesan, and they just didn't. And that's partly my fault. I didn't place them correctly. I didn't deploy correctly. But the main issue with monsters in 9th Age is that you either like as Empire, I feel obligated to take cannons because if I don't take cannons, then I really don't have a response to them. Uh, because the flagellants were just not hitting, and the flagellants are only strength 5, even though I got flaming swords on them, so they're +1 to wound. I couldn't even hit because I needed like a 5 or a 6 to hit the courtesan. And so by the time I hit him, like then I have to roll the wound again, and there's just no wounds going through. And then he's got still got his Aegis save and his full up Aegis save, and so um yeah, demons are just really hard. And then I have the Div Adept with Fate's Judgment. I've thought about going back to the Div Master so that I have access to Unerring Strike as well. But I feel with Empire, I locked in. Like, I have to take Artillery and I have to take Divination, or I have no answer to an army like this. And that constricts my choices when I'm building an army. So, I don't know. Sometimes I want to take like a no shooting Empire army, but I'm like, what would I do? Like, I guess I could spam Imperial Guard, Great Swords. Um, but I I don't know. Um, yeah. So that was it. That's all I wanted to talk about today. Don't deploy the way I did. If you get to so deploy, I even wrote a note card out for myself. If you get map 8 and you get forced to deploy on the bottom, which someone has to deploy on the bottom, either put your whole army left of this impassable or put your whole army right of this impassable. Things I wish I knew. Um, I guess it wouldn't matter so much if you have a more mobile army. Like if I was Sylvan Elves, I would still probably deploy left and right of the impassable. But with Empire, with mostly infantry, you need to deploy on one side. In hindsight, maybe I should have just deployed like this in the corner, and then I would have had more time to shoot at him. Just give up the objective. Like, not even fight for objective. Just deploy in the corner and make him come to me. I get more turns of shooting, and then he can't outflank me. And maybe at least I don't lose 0 to 20. Maybe I get something. So, there you have it. I'm slowly turning into probably a corner dwarf player because I keep losing big like this. I feel like I'm trying to play the way they want us to play, but there's too many people manipulating the rules, and it's not working. So, um, that's all I have. I already played my second battle. I'm gonna make that shortly. The Abrasus League, there's a Discord channel for it, though you shouldn't really join if you're not in it. I'm gonna try to post all of my battle reports from the Abrasus League, so you can track me as I go. For this first, he calls it the elimination round, which is 6 battles, 6 rounds. I have to use the exact same army and list. Later on, I'm going to be able to change my army and list, although I'm supposed to use each list at least twice later on. So, I haven't decided what I'm going to do, but I'm using this list in the Abrasus League for the first 6 rounds. And I also joined a team tournament. The USA is putting on a team tournament, and I'm in that. So I'm going to be playing this army like in 12 different battles. So at least I'll get a lot of different battles with it, and I'll really know like what works and what doesn't work with 90 flagellants. Because I feel like I didn't really learn that much from this battle. So we'll see. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you have any other questions about the 9th Age, please visit the 9th Age forum or website online. I'll post that in the description box below. And just hope that you have a really great year. This is 2021. And hopefully you find a new hobby, or that you'll be more successful in your own hobby. And of course, be the player that somebody wants to play again. Thanks all for watching.